Hello, everyone. It's all about projects. I'm Radka, and today I'm not alone. I have invited my colleague, client, and friend, Katka Pomaibikova, who is experienced researcher with her own lab, own research area, and own experience in implementing and applying for projects. So, Katka, welcome. Hello. Nice to see you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Okay,
I,
wonderful.
I just correct my name. I'm Katarzyna Jirku. Pomaybikova is my birth name, or how to say that.
Yeah, as you see, it can be riddled sometimes even with introduction of your colleagues. So I always call you Katka because, po my Biko is too long. And just like with any other client, I always give the scientific fields my clients work in sort of like short nicknames. So you, for me, work with parasites in gut. So that's it. Health of guts and so on. So we are going to talk about a bit about parasites, but a lot about people working on projects today. But before we start to talk, I would like to introduce you Katka a bit, because Katka is a very brave person. So let me show the short presentation I have made about Katka. So Katerina Pomaibikova Jirku, now the proper one. Did I say it right this time?
You
Okay.
can, yeah, you can stay just with Katka Jirku, that's okay.
Okay, thank you. So for now, she's going to be again my friend. So again, about Katka Jirku, Dr. Jirku. When we had a kind of preparatory discussion about this interview, so I asked a lot of questions, which I haven't actually asked Katka before. And when I listened to her story, I just thought, well, this reminds me of a really wise thoughts, which I have read in the book Make Brilliant Work by Rod Judkins. And these ideas talk about gladiator's mindset. And I think Katka has this gladiator mindset. So let me read you a couple of sentences from this wonderful book. So it's not enough to produce work. Sit back and hope it will be appreciated. You have to build a gladiator mindset so that you can fight for it. Well, and when I read this, I thought, wow, this is Katka. We must know when to fight for our work. We all suffer blows and injuries to our ego in the fight for what we believe in. Katka does. When I was doing this research, I saw so many also negative feedbacks to her research. I thought, wow, great go. And the last sentence, no one else is going to risk everything for your work. It's down to you to pick up the sword. And in our case, one of the swords you have to pick up is project proposals and applying for your own money. So this is what we are going to talk about today. But actually, this was just the gladiator's mindset, and there is a bit more. And this more will tell you really. So this is the profile of Katka. As you see, she has a lot of publications, loads of citations from my perspective. And she was brave enough to go to television to talk about her research. I really, really admired her for that, because it's one of the shows which is really popular in the Czech Republic. So there was a chance that a lot of people would see her. And whenever you just go out and share your thoughts, you really need to be prepared that you will also get, apart from appreciation, also negative feedback. So that's the reason why I thought that Katka is a really brave person in my eyes. So here are a couple of other articles and places where you can find Katka talking about her own research, picking the sword, going outside and talking. Yeah, but you can't do just talking. You have to get money for your research. And as I heard a week ago, it all started with a small dilemma about mice and apes. So what was the story about mice and apes? You told me, well, it was a challenge. You wanted to perform experiments either on mice or experimenting with apes. So what was your dilemma during your PhD thesis?
Um, hmm. Now I'm quite lost. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, it happened that during my veterinary studies, I decided that to go to praxis and be a vet. It's not my mission, and I decided that my mission might be science, and then I just discover parasitology, and I realized that it's my passion, and I realized that it's something I really would like to do and I would like to focus on. And then I asked one professor of parasitology at veterinary university that I really want to do some diploma thesis in his lab. And first he offered me a topic to study some parasite, which I really don't remember now. It's many years ago. And to study it on mice and study its life cycle, would say. Oh, and some experiments were done and were running, and it was a little bit boring, I would say. And then I remember the moment when I got an email. It was in a fourth year of university, and I was for Christmas at my family house, and I got an email if I want to collaborate or participate on the project on some gut ciliates in great apes. And it was something really excellent. It was brilliant, and it was almost paralyzed me. But it was the start of my mission in parasitology, and that is when I was start to go, and with science, I would say it's better. And since the time I had been working with great apes, with parasites in great apes, not only ciliates, and I did PhD, and that's.
So it sounds like a child's dream. You were investigating apes, you were in Africa, you got this opportunity at which age? How old you were? Very young, I think, 23, 24.
23, 24.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
Okay.
So, and then it came, well, to the moment when you thought, okay, I would like to go further. But to go further means that you needed money, I believe. So there came a moment when you decided, okay, I want to be independent, a little bit more independent, do my things, and I need to apply for money. And I heard from you that it wasn't that easy, that you wrote at the very beginning quite a few applications. So how many projects you wrote at one moment at the starting phase of your career?
I would say I didn't count it, but it was about 5 projects, 5 grant proposals in the beginning, and the 5th one was the successful one, the most prestigious one.
That was the human frontier, something incredible. So as you see, Katka was a young researcher without, well, that much scientific record, I would say, behind you, but you had great ideas. And you were brave, and you tried. And you tried something that meant that you were second out of 1,200 proposals. Am I right?
Yeah, with my Canadian colleague, I have to say, because it was this proposal was based on the international collaboration and international collaboration and
so it's always about new exciting topics, but the condition was that it has to be international collaboration, which is wonderful. So you are a young researcher, you have this amazing grant, and you have your colleague in Canada. So what kind of gates were opened by this project? I mean, in terms of further collaboration, in terms of knowledge, because I think you told me that you improved a lot your scientific writing. That was one of the sort of like side effects, but something that has helped you a lot. And what else came in your way?
It opened the gate to the several other scientific fields. I had to learn. I was parasitologist. I was really focused on parasitology, on parasitological techniques, veterinary parasitology, and other stuff. And I was a vet because I did the study. But then I have to improve my knowledge in immunology, in microbiology, in very specific techniques, new sequencing technologies. And what I really learned during this project, how to think interdisciplinary.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing, because you did kind of naturally something that is these days expected for researchers to do. And sometimes my clients used to struggle with what does it mean to be interdisciplinary? And it's so lovely to see when you were sort of driven by your own need to understand more and learn more about the field, that you felt it natural to go to different scientific fields and learn more. So you'll learn the basic craft of your field because you talk about all the methods and techniques that you had to master. And once you did it, it opened new gates to you to different scientific fields. And opening new horizons meant that you were being offered an opportunity to open your own research laboratory. So when it happened, how it happened, where it happened, it meant that you had to move from Brno to České Budějovice. This is what I know. But tell me a bit more about the rest of the story.
So it happened a little bit earlier than I got this prestigious grant. It happened during the last months of my PhD. It was before my PhD defense, I would say. And I got opportunity to open the lab within one European project. And so I decided, and it was very specific and for me very important topic, which is about the role of some, we can say, parasites, but now we know that it's not really these organisms are parasites. But what is the role of some intestinal parasites in human health? How they can help, how they can influence some inflammation in the body and so on. So I decided to accept this opportunity.
Yeah, that was challenge.
Challenge. And then I was starting to think how to take it, how to improve it, and when to get money, because I had money only for my salary, or I got money for my salary, but I didn't get money for anything else. So yeah, I was searching for the opportunities mainly in abroad, because in that time our grant agency stopped the postdocs grants.
Mm-hmm.
And there was open the call of juniors grants, and there was condition to have some half of year of some internship, and I didn't have it. So I decided to look abroad, and I was asking several, or sending or submitting the grant proposals to several grant agencies in Denmark, in US. Actually, I don't remember all of them.
I can imagine. But what you remember from this part of your journey are people that you met during those successful project applications that you applied for. So, well, the journey was obviously not a long one because you are not an old researcher, but it was, I would say, quite eventful journey. So you were quite a young person, just finished PhD, you were opening lab, you had your new challenging, exciting topic, which you sort of had to fight for so that people would listen to what you were investigating. And suddenly you were given a team. So you were in the role of manager. At the same moment, you also started to search for money. So it was not only being immersed in research, but you also became, well, financial manager, human resources manager, all kind of managing issues. You had to learn communicating with people, disseminating your research results, and at the same time, applying for money. Not an easy thing to do. So again, something I admire you for. So what were the rewards apart from money? Of course, you were successful because obviously you still run your lab. You are a really successful researcher. We saw how many articles you have published, what a lot of quotations you have. But well, there were also some like human rewards, I would say. And you mentioned some great friendships and some great inspiration. So tell me about those people you met on the way who inspired you, who motivated you to go further and not to give up, because yeah, it's challenging to do all this at one time and to live your life as well.
Yes, of course. I think that the first people who really inspired me and who taught me many things was my supervisor, diploma and PhD supervisor, who really opened my mind to think about new topics, new uh, challenging topics, and also showed me how to write texts and showed me how to write grant proposals and also showed me how to write an article.
And a technical remark, sorry, because I know that this wasn't such an easy way, because people might think that someone was sitting next to you and guiding you with every step.
Yeah.
And as I heard
No.
from you, it wasn't that easy. You really had to learn more by observation than waiting for someone to come to you and teach you. So it was like, again, being open-minded and always ready to see opportunity. So if I may add this to your story, because it started to sound like, well, it was so happy ending, everyone was helping me, and
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I was open to opportunities and observing the skills and thinking and critical thinking, because it's very important to learn in a science. And there was also another person she was, let's say, co-supervisor of my diploma and also PhD thesis. She is I would say, also very, very brave woman in science. And she was the one who inspired me that if you want to do something controversial and nobody believes that, you have to go for it and
yeah, you have to pick up your sword and fight for it.
yeah. And now when I looking back, I think that she was also brilliant, and she had to go or through many walls, I would say, and she was very inspiring. I didn't know that in that time, but now I think that she was one of the biggest inspiration for me.
This is absolutely wonderful to hear. We will return back to your inspiration. I just wanted to add that this is, again, so important to hear, because in many project applications, people are asked to have supervisor and co-supervisor. And quite frequently, this refers to postdoctoral fellowships. And my clients used to struggle with this concept of co-supervisor. So when you now talk about it, it sounds a little bit like, this Chinese yin and yang, like plus and minus, people who were adding something from different characters to your own individual experience. So it was, I think, really enriching to have two people and not just one supervisor. When I listened to you, it sounded so. So that was the beginning, but then we have other inspiring people in your life. So go on. I'm looking forward to hear about the one working with iron.
Oh, so there was several other people who inspired me or also give me the opportunity. But the one who inspired me is or was you, who really helped me with writing of Monsters Project. I would say it was one of the other biggest challenges in my life. Coordination of 14 institutions across Europe, and one of the important thing that I was the youngest one from all collaborators.
Oh.
And it was it's also a time ago, so I don't remember all details, but what I remember that everybody has some ideas. All of them had ideas. Everybody has suggestions, comments, but nobody helped me or
Yeah, I would say,
suggest. Right.
yeah, it's so easy always to criticize, but no one does the work.
Yeah. And I met you, and I think that it was a very lucky moment in my life because the project really happened. The project were really written. The project was very good. Okay, it was not financially supported, but it was successful. And I think that, yeah, and I remember that when you were always asking me how to write this chapter or that chapter, what do you think you should be there? Or just think of what information you can include there, and many other questions which you gave me, many other questions. You helped me to think about the project development and the writing, and it was really amazing moment in my life. So yeah.
As you see, Katka surprised me because I wanted to talk about this topic at the end. But anyway, she again mentioned very important thing, which I'm going to cover in some of my trainings, and that's the role of questions. You mustn't stop with the big research questions or things that you think are important. The tiniest of tiny things might be important in writing convincing story and in creating the convincing environment for your project. So that is really important. And that had been my role as a consultant, to ask stupid questions. And once you sort of, as a client, were able to tell me what it is about, explain it to a layperson like I was, what it means, that it meant, well, everyone could understand it. But anyway, so what I wanted to ask you, so if you started to talk about Enteromet, our Christmas and end of the year experience, I think it was something like end of 2017 which we spent together, and we were writing your proposal. I know the risk analysis and so on, but it was, as you mentioned, it was a lot of partners. Again, you were sort of, I would say, just thrown into the river and made swim, because you even didn't have the ambition. You were part of the team who were preparing it, and suddenly you were again given this opportunity to go on. Well, unfortunately, you were alone in this situation, but fortunately, we met. So it is always better if you work on challenging topic with a partner, with a friend, with a colleague, to whom you trust. That's the most important. So we created quite early on trust between us. So even when we still were not friends, I think we were working really well together. But as I said, the project was not financed. Honestly, I was really happy for that, because I could imagine how demanding it would be if you got the money. And honestly, this is one of the things I always wanted to highlight to all my clients. Be careful. If you really want to go on with your own research and really do experiments, be careful with big research projects, because suddenly you become a research manager and you will regret that you can't be in the lab anymore. So I just thought, well, it was lucky that you didn't get it. But even though there were lots of lessons you learned from this. So could you tell me what was some kind of experience that enriched you at the end of this? I think you told me something about learning to say no.
Yeah. Yeah, there was this situation happened several times during the project preparation. Everybody wants to be in the project, all the partners, and I had to, the youngest one, had to coordinate them, and I had to establish some deadlines because I needed information from them to write and put together the entire project, the grant application. And it happened that I established several deadlines to be were able to run and run writing together. And it happened that for first deadline, nothing happened. For second deadline, nothing happened. So then I had to, and I asked, I remember my boss in that time what to do, and he told me, you have to say that if nothing happened, you exclude the people who don't send anything or who don't provide you the
Support.
required information.
Yeah.
And support. So it was very challenging and very difficult for me because I was really young. I don't know. I was maybe 32, 33. And all of the other people were already some capacities in their fields. And now I had to set up the system. Oh, if you are not going to give me your support, feedback, text, information, I have to say that you are excluded from the project. So I did it. I had to did it. And
I remember what a struggle it was, like mental struggle for you.
yeah. But then I sent an email that sorry, I set up two deadlines. Nobody replied me, but I need this information. Otherwise, I'm not able to write grant applications. So there is another deadline, and who won't send me anything, the one will be excluded from the project. And then really things had started to happen. People were reacting. Most people were reacting, sending me everything I needed, and we were able to start with writing on the application. Of course, it was more than one month to when I solved it, but then it really happened and we did it.
Oh, that's really cute because you just reminded me of a song from Sting, which is called "A Night When the Pugilists Learn How to Dance." So this was the month when the researcher learned how to manage. By the way, it's a really nice one. So, wow, that was a big thing. And I have to say, we are now talking about Innovative Training Network, it was called, I think. It was a huge project submitted for the call of, at that time, I think, Horizon 2020, was it? Yeah, it was Horizon 2020 already, wasn't it? So it was a really big challenge, and not many people would go on with this. So I was really, really brave about you and what you did. We tried to resubmit, but at that moment, I was again proud of you because you learned to be kind of realistic and reasonable about the situation. So you gave it a chance. And you also saw that lots of the troubles that were related to to kind of new concept were sort of not related to the possible gains, and there were other options. So this is again some kind of art we need to learn. That, well, this is again one of the sentences which I had at the beginning with this gladiator's mind. You just need to know when to fight for your work, and this was the good moment when you saw, well, this is not the fight I need to go on with to be successful with my research, because obviously you then found different opportunities and resources. You focused more on like bilateral collaboration, so just collaboration with colleagues across the ocean. So we are finally going to the direction which I want to hear about, the Smith.
I got it. So yes, I met another person who is, I would say, who still is my mentor, who is who is my close colleague, and who is very kind and helpful. I contacted him during the Human Frontiers project running. And because we worked on the same, I would say, organism and a little bit similar topic. And I had one of the project and I need many isolates of this organism. So I asked him, or maybe Laura asked him first, the Canadian colleague, if he can provide us the isolate. And then he write, it's person who work at, if I can say, the institution, Duke University, and somebody from Duke University just replied to you, oh yeah, of course, I will provide it and I want to collaborate. And it was, okay, amazing. And then it started and we made several projects together. We have several good, very nice publications together. And he also offered me or enable to or the opportunity for another bilateral grant writing came with him, and we succeeded with a project for support of Czech-US collaboration. And still we are solving the project and the topic and the experiments. And yeah, he was very inspiring me, and he was very supportive. He always, when there was the crisis and there are also tears on my face, he always listen me and trying to help me, trying to
Yeah.
show me the
He was also a human mentor, wasn't he? Just not only scientific, but also as a human being, he's a really inspirational. And what I really like, and finally we are getting there, is that he also manages to manage well his balance between free time and working life. So you told me that he has a great hobby, and he's being an ironsmith. Is that the best? Oh, blacksmith, blacksmith.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. So he really does a kind of traditional craft. He's working with his hands, which returns me to the fact that you also work with your hands in your amazing garden. So how do you relax after all this? Because performing research, writing articles, applying for money, yeah, you even teach at the university as well. So how do you relax?
Yeah, so I found that I really need to relax and clean my head when you are doing science and this kind of research. So I have to say that I have also brilliant husband who helped me a lot, and he's also my colleague in my lab. So he's also my mentor, friend, colleague, and whatever. And we have together a very nice and big garden, and thanks to him I'm learning to uh,
better balance your life.
balance my life, and I really love
Yeah, I know it's challenging to talk about these topics in English. So, well, it's always important to laugh about mistakes we make. So, okay.
I love flowers a lot, and colorful flowers. So I'm trying to be also expert in that, and I care about them and establishing flowers beddings in our gardens, and I'm happy about this. And
Wow,
this is very relaxing for me.
that's amazing. Yeah.
That's you have to relax physically, so I'm also doing another thing, oriental dancing.
Wow.
I'm also happy for, because it also makes me relaxed and happy, and it's of course let's say female energy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Okay.
focusing. Oh, I'm also woman. Hello.
Yeah, you're not only a researcher. Anyway, so I think I'm not going to torment you more with my questions. I think this was already very brave. And as you have heard, we both are non-native speakers. So it's a bit challenging to talk constantly in English. But yeah, we thought that's life. Let's be brave and let's share something. And because I think just, looking at one face on the screen is a bit boring. So that was the reason why I asked my colleagues if they would be willing to try with me to do these sort of interviews. So actually, Katka is my first, I would say, victim. And she was so brave that she joined me today and shared with you some inspiration on how to be open to opportunities, on the fact that nothing usually comes on its own. You need to be open, and whenever opportunity comes, you just have to be active and you have to do a lot of things in order to be successful. So nothing comes alone. All these research articles, behind them is a lot of work, hard work. And this is what I appreciate so much about Katka, that she is wonderful researcher. She inspires students while she's teaching, but she also still stayed friend, woman, human being, and a lovely person to spend time with. So I wanted to thank you, Katka, for today. I hope that you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. I want to thank you. Sorry, I keep on looking here and there because out there I have my camera and here I have my screen. So over there, I'm just pretending my, eye contact with all of you. And here I look at Katka. So anyway, thank you very much, Katka, for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's a big honor to give this interview with you. It was very nice.
And I hope it was a bit of fun. I wanted to have this to be a bit fun as well, not to be that, educational and important, because we all have some kind of experiences. And the more you learn about how we learn, the more you just read it or experience that we need to have fun while learning, while trying to get better. Because this is how it gets better embedded into our brains and how we become more creative. And actually, creativity, that's one of the topics we focus on at the moment. And I think we are going to talk about creativity and creative thinking in future as well. So thank you very much for now, Katka. And I'm looking forward probably to welcome you some other time with our topic. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice.